Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast, brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. Mark Givler here with Kevin Noon. Signing day for the class of 2024. We're doing capsules on every prospect who signs with the Buckeyes today. We're expecting more than 20. We'll see what shakes out here. But a big one here. Springfield, Ohio, 5-star corner Aaron Scott has signed with Ohio State as expected. This was one of the big recruiting wins for Ohio State this cycle. A lot of angst, I guess, from the Ohio State fan base during this one, which we tried to comb some hair the entire way, but didn't always take. But beating Michigan for Aaron Scott, the state's top prospect, big win for the Buckeyes. You got to win those battles against Michigan for guys in your own state. Ohio State was able to do that. Aaron had another tremendous year for Springfield. For the third straight year, they got to the state championship game and lost to St. Ed's and the Armstrong twins. But Aaron had a big-time senior year, and definitely a guy to be excited about in the future, Kevin. Again, one of the more memorable recruiting battles of the cycle.
I think the smoke machine is still running at his announcement. I mean, that was a crazy announcement. There were a lot of concern, even though I think that a lot of us felt that it was going to be Ohio State. Nobody was going to be quite sure until they were quite sure. And, it was a lot of kids don't do the announcement ceremonies the way that they used to back in the day. It was great to see Aaron Scott do it that way. Family, friends, everything else at a little community center there in Springfield. So one of the memories I'll definitely take out of this recruiting class of 2024. But you're right. You've got to beat Michigan. You got to beat Notre Dame. You got to beat these types of teams for players within your own backyard, because not only do you need these types of players on your roster, you also don't want to be going against them. And Aaron Scott is, there was a big question throughout the season. Aaron Scott, Bryce West, who will reign supreme? Who is the top corner there? And, Ohio State looks like it's going to have both of them once the ink dries on the signatures. But, Aaron Scott is somebody that just really has the look. And I think I went to a 7-on-7 event in Dayton and had a chance to really watch Aaron Scott at that event. And that's when I was like, I definitely see it now. I mean, and that was before his senior season.
Yeah, he's been my number one wire to wire in Ohio. He is a special talent. He's 6 foot plus, maybe 6'1", long, can absolutely fly. Just an absolute playmaker. Again, he gets an interception and it turns into a punt return. One of those types of guys. He's a game breaker on defense. Tremendous season. I had a chance to watch him a couple times in the playoffs. He absolutely dominated a game against Olentangy, that was the top seed in the region. And Aaron had a couple of touchdowns on offense and a key interception in the end zone on defense, and was able to kind of shadow Olentangy star Jackson Wiley, and did a great job against him. There he is. I was actually at this one too against Wayne here, where he jumps the route and gets the interception. Just a really unique talent. He's one of those prototypes. He's one of those big, athletic, a Marshawn Lattimore, a Jeff Okuda, Eli Apple, Garyon Conley, just those big outside athletic corners. He can absolutely fly. Even just talking to the guys at St. Ed's after the state title game, they were super aware of kind of what he meant to that team. And they were talking about how aware they were going to be of him wherever he was on either side of the ball, and didn't even face a target in the state title game. So that's kind of the ultimate sign of respect there. But just a tremendous senior year, and a guy who, talking to Coach Mo Douglas, who has always been a great player for them, but kind of turned himself into a great leader, and one of those guys who either wanted the ball in his hands in money time on offense, or who wanted an opportunity to defend a pass at money time on defense. So just really grew into the leadership role and just kind of taking things to the next level as a senior. So look, the cornerback room at Ohio State has come a long way in a very short period of time under Tim Walton, and Perry Eliano has to get some credit for that too. He's involved with the secondary as well. So this will help them, I think, continue the success we saw out of the corners this year at Ohio State.
Yeah, going back to that 7-on event that I was talking about, I got to watch him go against Ohio State commit 2026 Chris Henry Jr., and it really just was not even fair. I mean, a couple years difference in development and everything else, and Aaron Scott is going to be somebody, as Ohio State seems to be turning around what had slipped for a couple of years in terms of what its secondary is, BIA, best in America. I think coming out of this year, the secondary performed pretty well. You had guys like Jordan Hancock and Denzel Burke, and through the transfer portal, Davison Igbinosun. I think Aaron Scott is going to be somebody. It's a lot. I threw out there with Jermaine Matthews before he ever played a game. I said, this guy will be all Big Ten. Well, I'm going to do it again. I think Aaron Scott will be all Big Ten at least one time during his Ohio State career. I feel that highly about him.
They have a really nice setup right now. Now we don't know what Denzel Burke's going to do yet. We don't know what Jordan Hancock's going to do yet. But they've got this set up in a really good spot right now. You're going to get Davison Igbinosun back, absolute stud at corner. Boy, do you have to like we saw Jermaine Matthews as a freshman. You got to think, if you're in the stock market, you're buying Jermaine Matthews right now. Even if they get, the worst possible news, which is Burke and Hancock both leaving, you're still really looking good there next year. And to add an Aaron Scott in there, this is what they had going there from, 2012 to like 2020, where it was just like, here's Marshawn Lattimore and then Denzel Ward, and we'll get Jeff Okudah. And it didn't seem to matter, Sean Wade. It didn't seem to matter if they lost a stud to the NFL. They just next guy up. And they're getting to that point here with this class and with guys like Aaron Scott. I am a huge Aaron Scott fan as a football talent. He is a tremendous talent. So these are the types of guys you got to get at corner if you want to, again, return to that position of just basically churning first round picks. The position, these are what those guys look like when they're in high school. These big athletic corners. So.
Yeah, I was just thinking. I mean, he's you want that 6 foot corner. I mean, there are going to be times that you're going to have the guy that's not the 6 foot corner. I mean, they're going to have some other skills or whatever. They're fast. They could do this, blah, 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 blah. But Aaron Scott is kind of a prototype. I mean, no, he's not going to be as big as Davison, but Davison, I mean, hell, I mean, you could sit there and see him. I remember at the start of the season in I think it was like fall camp or whatever, and there were number changes, and he was wearing Sonny Styles' number, and it wasn't necessarily that huge of a leap of disbelief of being like, is that really Sonny out there playing corner? No, but it was Davison, and I think that Aaron Scott is going to be somebody who's going to look really good in the Ohio State uniform as well. Now you got to sit there and you got to make the adjustment to the collegiate game and everything else. And yeah, it's great that St. Ed's didn't throw at you once, but the second you get out there on the field now as a true freshman, if that opportunity arises, you're going to see every throw at you because, you're low man on the totem pole again. And, you got to have a short memory because not everything comes right out of the box working 100%.
And he does not lack confidence, folks. That's another thing I kind of love about his game. There's certain positions you want your guys to kind of be, cool, calm, collected, kind of even keel, maybe even a little on the humble side. Corners, no, you gotta have the intensity, you gotta have the flash, you gotta have the attitude that you're the best, and that's what he has as well. So very Jermaine Matthews-esque on that. Jermaine Matthews does not lack confidence, and this is kind of how Aaron Scott's wired too. So that's why the other thing I like about him as well. But huge signing for the Buckeyes. Top player in the state of Ohio is signed. We will be back soon with another recruiting capsule as they roll in.